neighborhood is concerned. Continuing with its austerity policy for the last 2 years, the Pakistan Armed Forces have not demanded any increase in its annual budget allocation for the current financial year. As the country is facing difficult economic challenges and inflation, the Pak Armed Forces have ensured the defense by remaining operationally efficient in given resources. That's what they claim, and the forces have minimized their utility bills, including electricity, gas and water. Not only that, Pak Army also has taken austerity measures to save petrol and diesel, announcing to observe every Friday as dry day, and only emergency related work would be carried out and all other government related transport would be halted. This is essentially going to affect at some stage their operational readiness also. We are told that even military training exercises are going to be curtailed. What happens of Pakistani defense? Let's take a look. All right, joining us live now to discuss this very important development so far as India's strategic neighborhood is concerned, General K. Sinha and General Soi. Welcome, sirs. Sunday evening, Pakistan Army claims that they have curtailed their requirements, their budgets, their military exercises because Pakistan is facing a very difficult economic environment. You think this bodes well for India? You think that Pakistan Army, with its reduced resources, is going to be an easier animal to deal with? Or if we look at it other way, would a weakened Pakistan Army would not be able to control terror and terror machinery in Pakistan, hence it's not good for India? I would want to understand. Let's begin with General Sinha and then I'll go to General Soi.
When you go deeper inside and carry out the wholesome analysis of this, you will find that what the prognosis which you have given, the two-way when you look at it, is it good or it is bad? In a nutshell, we have to when I have to sum up and when you have to conclude, when an enemy weakens, when the enemy has got nothing, it reacts in a two-way. And mind you, Pakistan is a nuclear state and a rogue state and absolutely on the verge of failing or already failed to a certain extent. It is going, when we are saying, a little bit analysis I will give you. As on today, the total debt burden has just come to $91.2 billion. Out of that, $25 billion is with the China. Now, over dependency on China, and the China now is no way in the condition to help out the Pakistan as far as economic is concerned. You asked about, when look at the armed forces. Imran Khan predicted, one thing. First, he said that, it will be bankruptcy of the Pakistan, followed by, Pakistan Army. And third, he is saying that the nuclear weapon will go. This is where Imran Khan's peer, predictions. When he is predicting all these things, it has got a meaning. What you said, that is whether it is good or bad for India, it is both. It is good and it is bad. Bad in the sense that what you pointed out, that, probably, these, the groups which they get, a lot of help from other states, they will gain an upper hand and they will try to, create a problem in India. The drug trafficking and things like that, the illegal things is going to go up. That way we have to check. But Pakistan military, when you are hit, you have got no one to help you out. Americans are not going to help them because, they have imposed, huge military sanctions to them, which they were giving it to them. China is no way in the conditions. So if the Pakistan is going in Lankan's way, in my predictions are there that it will not take much time when the Pakistan will go down to the drain. And we have to very carefully, then take actions and strike at particular time.
General Soi, Pakistan Army claims that they are going to observe austerity measures. But the fact is that their budget still accounts for 16% of the annual budget of the entire country. And 2% of the GDP, and still it's a whopping 1.5 lakh crore rupees, Pakistani rupees, and the Pakistani budget, which is about 15 lakh odd crore rupees. I think it still remains a formidable fighting force, but they are saying that they are not going to organize large-scale military exercises. You think it's going to compromise? I mean, whatever we know of Pakistan war machine, it's going to compromise their defense preparedness. For example, they say that in this year's budget, there are no new proposals for any defense procurement. How does it help us?
In fact, if you see what General Sinha just mentioned, I would say that in real term, when you look at it, the budget will keep going down because their economy cannot sustain the huge defense budget. In fact, like if you see the Pak defense budget falls from 20% to 16%. And with the inflation which is there, it will, you can say in real term, probably it will go to about 10 to 12% only. That is one part. And it will definitely affect the military preparedness. They are not going to do exercises. There are no new procurement. So what impact will it have? In fact, Pakistan is already a sort of a economically and politically unstable state, I would say. It has become a rogue state. And the hardliners are gaining ground and they are becoming stronger day by day. In fact, that is where the problem comes in. Probably, I would say that the armed forces, their armed forces were still above really comparatively, though over a period of last 5-6 years or things have changed. But the fact is that they were still quite neutral and they were quite tolerant towards the religion part. It was like military ethos were given by the Britishers, and same their ethos were more or less same like Indian army is there. So once they become weaker, the other forces, the rogue state, the fourth state becomes stronger. The militants and the hardliners will become stronger, and that is what probably the ISI will look for. They will look for the cheaper option of exporting militants to India and create more problem for India, so that they cannot fight directly. But that is a alternate means they will try to do it. And that is where we need to be careful. And with the Afghanistan also going the Taliban way, the kind of militant support, the arms and ammunition they're getting from there, that also they're trying to pump in India. And we know the kind of drone supplies by the drone which is taking place almost every month. We see Punjab and J&K, they are trying to create problem. So they will not be in a position to take on India directly, but that is where they will try to do indirect methods of fighting the indirect war.
Right. General Sinha, General Sohi is making a very valid point. Pakistan army, you accept it or not, is sort of a stabilizing factor in Pakistan, given the nature of things as they are. If the Pakistan army faces a squeeze, are we going to face, and that's a question I asked earlier also, are we going to have destabilizing consequences of this squeeze on Pakistan army in our neighborhood in terms of the terror machinery completely going out of control? In fact, I was taking a deep dive into the numbers, and while the overall budget might be decreasing, the budget for the inter-services establishment, which is essentially the ISI, that is not coming down, that remains same. So it seems that there might be some reallocation, and that should be an area of concern for us.
Absolutely. When we carry out and saying that, it is going to hit them, the Pakistan has, army, or, they have got as a military expenditure, or their economy is in 3 layers. Firstly, they were getting it, quite a good sum from the state itself. And I have seen the the budget which has been presented, actually nothing has come down. You see, only 6%. Of course, your report is saying that, that is self-styled Pakistan army chief saying that they will cut it down. But 6% there is an increase, and this is generally, happens in any defense budget. But as far the other thing is concerned, there are 2 more layers of that. $100 billion Pakistan, controlled economy, military controls the economy. and they have got $100 billion in the name of Pakistani different foundations which they run, and they run from starting from, if you take it from handkerchief or napkin right up to oil and all strategic assets they control. Now, only worry which has come, and this is the IMF has given. IMF has given an indication that and told the Pakistan that you have to cut down and have a better term for the CPAC, and that is what is worrying Pakistan Army. This is a no uncertain term. They have said you have to have a better deal with the CPAC until unless they are not going to help them out. Now, what you are saying, see, the two indicators are there. One indicator is that the Pakistan has launched the K2 plan. K2 plan is a ISI based, and $200 million budget of the ISI is not, has gone to anyone. Over and above, what they have done about 3,000 131 brigade, which has been raised in the POK, that is a matter of concern. So that is all going on. And then the Pakistan military is in getting rogue as far the financially is concerned. That is a worry for India.
Right. General Soy, my last question, and on a lighter note, the report also suggests that Pakistan Army is going to observe every Friday as a dry day. With the spirits down and perhaps moral also down, how close would we be to taking POK from Pakistan?
That's a very good observation of going dry day on every Friday. So I think what their mullahs and what their religion fanatics would be talking about. And yes, you are right that the morale of the armed forces, the way they are suffering casualties in Balochistan and the western side, and they are also into fight for last so many years, especially in the northwest frontier area. And with this cut in the budget, and when they see the Indian Army, the way we are going, we are making make in India, whether it's the aircraft, whether it's the missile system, whether it's the weapon system, and it brings a sense of pride in our armed forces. And on the other hand, they see the problems everywhere, and gradually, if you see this, the infight within the armed forces is going on. The present chief probably doesn't want to leave, and he is looking for the extension. And they are also observing the happening in the political front very quietly, and they are looking for probably the right opportunity. So these things also affect the morale of the armed forces. Yes, in the ultimately, it speaks the shift in the strategy. The increase in the budget of ISI shows the shift in the strategy of our government. Hopefully. That is what I wanted to ask.
Hopefully, this will work out well for India. We'll keep close tabs. So thank you so much, General Sinha and General Soy. We have to move on and a short break, but before that,